In what ways does your media product use, develop or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? When making my trailer, I tried from the very start to follow forms and conventions on my trailer I had looked at during pre-production, but there were some elements where I felt to develop or challenge conventions to make my trailer appealing and unique. In order for the audiences to see a preview of my film through the trailer, I felt the narrative was a key element. Showing the narrative was essential as well as understanding the story, as this would want audiences to see the film. But it was also important not to give away too much, hence vast enigma codes were used. Elements of the story is not fully explained, so therefore becomes a mystery to the audience. For example, in my trailer, the audiences are left in suspense, as it's not shown if the predator is caught. Almost all the trailers I've looked at, such as Catfish and Megan is Missing, have followed this convention. But most importantly, Strauss's idea of showing binary opposites such as men and women, as well as adults versus teens, is a good idea, as this is typical in films such as Trust and Hard Candy. This creates the relationship between characters. Looking at the trailer of Megan's Missing, we see a news report publicising a missing girl. The news report is a typical convention for social realism genre. This idea of making an announcement to the public makes the story a big deal. Therefore, I use this in my trailer at the start to set the story and give some background information about Sarah's past. However, I decided that I wanted to develop this element by making it a radio news report instead of a TV report. This was done through showing an alarm clock as a prop. Other elements of the mise-en-scene that is used in the trailer is the laptop, which is an essential prop used in the trailer. The laptop is used as a device to trap the predator. In Trust, you also see the use of this prop. The main character, Victim, begins to talk to her friend on a chat room. Having this device and technology shows the genre effectively, as it reinforces the part of modern social life and the change in communication. This approach is backed up by Rick Altman's theory, giving a semantic approach to the genre of the film. I began the trailer with some institutional information, for example the green MPAA rating screen, followed by the logo of my company. I felt that Millennium Entertainment was best suited for my film, as it produces films such as Trust, a film that I've analysed with a similar genre to mine, as well as Blitz, a British crime thriller. Researching these companies beforehand helped me to choose a suitable credit screen. With the billing blocked, I placed this towards the end, near to the title of my film, due to the fact that it is conventional to all my films I've looked at, except for Catfish. I chose to conform to this, as having the billing block placed elsewhere would confuse audiences. As mentioned, placing this information at the start was a convention I used from the films I looked at, from Catfish to Hard Candy. This institutional information at the start began with no music, therefore I chose to add sound when the first scene of the trailer began. Two main characters in my trailer are represented in different ways. The protagonist, Sarah, would have been seen as a male character typically. Trust, Hard Candy, and Megan is Missing are all films referencing teenagers' innocence and irresponsibility, as well as older people's behaviour online. I particularly chose to challenge this convention of having the young girl play a vulnerable victim, therefore using Strauss's binary opposites of teen versus society so that the audiences get a view of Sarah, the female teen protagonist. Turning the story around makes the storyline interesting for the audiences. I've also thought about the key topic in this film, online predatory. A serious focus in today's world allows audiences not to feel just sympathetic for the characters, but they're also able to vision other people's problems. This idea of moral panic is something that can be talked about. The topic of my film arouses social concern over an issue, as this is also done in the film Megan is Missing, hence the convention is used. A recent example that can be used to back up this idea is the death of Leicestershire 15-year-old girl Kaylee Hayward. 2 men were charged with grooming and 2 counts of sexual activity with the child. It was known that she had asked for permission to stay over at a friend's house, but is believed to have met up with the 27-year-old she had met on Facebook. This recent story from the news is used to give an insight of the ideology of what's going on in this world. Moving on to the cinematography of the trailer, I believe that I have used a range of shot types. Each shot type and angle is used to get a different feeling or emotion, as well as make it look appealing and realistic as a trailer. Looking closely at Catfish, we see that this film is mainly from a perspective of one person, the main character's brother. The jerky effects makes audiences see the trailer from that perspective. Hence, I felt that I developed this convention as all the characters are seen in my trailer, and I wanted to avoid using handheld shots to show movement. For the typography, I used two different fonts shown in the trailer, one used for the captions that are seen throughout the trailer, and the other is used for the film title at the end. I felt for a social realism film, sans serif fonts would be suitable as they will be bold and will catch the eye of the audiences. We see in the trailer of Trust that the film title is typed out with the LCD computer screen effects added onto the font. However, this movement for the title was not used in my trailer. Therefore, it could be said that this convention was developed as I kept the title stationary against the background of blurred text. Having the captions in my trailer was very conventional, as looking at Catfish and Hard Candy. Revenge is all part of the plan was one of my captions. This hints out the narrative as well as give audiences an idea of what's happening in the trailer at that stage. The mixture of both types of transition is used in my trailer. Having these different transitions makes the change in pace apparent and makes the tension and drama build up. The continuity editing is used at the start of my trailer. This makes my shot smooth over the inherent discontinuity of editing process and establish a linear sequence. Followed by a montage with a series of non-linear shots from the trailer. This is where the pace is now increased. This part of my trailer showed various shots that were second long. Trailers such as Trust and Catfish use a similar technique to create dramatic tension in the trailer, hence I believed I used this convention. Finally, sound was a major element for my trailer. Without this, the trailer would lose its drama. Also, audiences would miss out on small details as the footage itself cannot always tell the narrative. Hence, the sound helps to do this in my trailer. I've used a range of different sounds, for example, diegetic dialogue, voiceovers, foley, as well as contrapuntal sound.
Kira Toms has been found.
Catfish and Trust, the films I've looked at, did this well. Therefore, I think this is a convention I've used. With the trailer Megan is Missing, we see narration being used. However, I was not particularly keen with this idea of adding narration in my trailer, as I felt that this would give out too much. I wanted the audiences to figure out as much as they could without this. Therefore, I chose not to conform to the narration convention used in this film.